Emeritus of the Summit County Historical Society, and it's a pleasure to welcome you here today on behalf of Roz Mather, who we can blame for this today. It was really Roz who really has kept up the effort to make certain that Irvin Manton was remembered. It was in 1933, about 6 months after Irv Manton passed, that his friends at the Akron City Club put together some money and purchased a granite water shaft, as they called it at the time. And this granite water shaft was installed at the corner of South Main Street and Church Street, right in front of the Akron City Club. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, probably over the last 80 years, walked by it and never noticed it. It was just there, and I have to tell you, I'm one of them. I just sort of walked by and saw that thing there, and I was at City Hall for 10 years. I probably walked by it almost every day, and it just never occurred to me to stop and ask the question, who in the heck was Irvin Manton? But Bob Dyer did in 2016 and brought attention to this little piece of Akron history that was kind of a mystery. And since that time, we've learned lots more. It really is an artifact that helps us remember one of the eras of Akron history that truly made Akron great, and that was the clay products industry. Everybody knows about the 4 major tire companies in Akron. Some people even know about Buckeye Mower and Reaper and our history of being a manufacturing center for the farm machinery business. Everybody knows about our worldwide reputation in racing automobile tires, and people know about LeBron James, and people know about Purell, which is pumped 1 billion times a day around the world in people's hands, and it was invented right here in Akron. But the clay products industry sometimes is kind of forgotten. And it was a huge industry in the late 19th century. It was just after the Civil War that the Summit Pottery Works was founded in Middlebury. And 2 men from Staffordshire, England, William Robinson and Richard Whitmore, formed the Summit Pottery Works, and shortly after they opened business, Henry Manton became the treasurer of the company, and Irvin's father, James, who was born in Lincolnshire, England, started there in 1865. Of course, the factory was a huge factory. The works were located on Case Avenue at East Market Street. There are many photographs and drawings of that complex during the late 19th century. And the link to the rest of the world's history, the nation's history for certain, is the fact that just as cities were developing on the eastern seaboard, think New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Providence, as those cities were trying to decide what to do with the waste matter that had previously run in the streets, they were installing underground sewers in all of those cities. And so an inventor in Akron came up with the idea of the sewer pipe that would be impervious to water, and it was that invention that led Robinson and licensing it to other producers around the country as well to create this tremendous industry of sewer pipes, for which Akron was greatly known right around 1900. I have read that in addition to all the other clay products that Robinson made over the years, one of the things that they also made, never been able to verify this, but I've been told that they made some of the tiles used in the New York City subway system. So when you go to New York City and you see those old white tiles on the walls, chances are they originated in Akron, Ohio. So Irvin's grandfather, Henry, became treasurer of the company. His father, James, headed the company. Irvin married Harriet Robinson, the daughter of the founder, and William Irvin became the superintendent. Irvin became the superintendent of the works on Case Avenue until it was razed in 1930. So they tore the factory down. Irvin remained as the Robinson Products Company kept open an office in Akron, and they continued to manufacture sewer pipe well into the 1960s in Tuscarawas County and in Mogador. Our presence here today is due to Roz. It was her husband, James Manton Mather, who was the son of Irvin's daughter, Leona. So we really have, well, now that I've met, what's your name? Rowan. Now that I've met Rowan, we have 7 generations of the family, the Manton family, here. We'd start with you, Rowan, and then we would go to Sarah and Melissa, who are both here today, and then their father was James, married to Roz. His mother was Leona, and she was the daughter of Irvin Manton, who was the son of James Manton, who was the son of Henry Manton. So we are now celebrating today 7 generations of the Manton family here as well. When the city of Akron then decided to remodel Main Street, South Main Street, that might have been when you first got a hold of me, Roz, when we were concerned about the fact what was going to happen to this fountain. Were they just going to bulldoze it or what? I mean, the city's pretty good at bulldozing stuff, I got to tell you. We're really good at that. And so I called the engineering bureau right after you had called me, and they said, no, we've got it. We understand that it's valuable, and we've secured it. And so they had kept it in a yard downtown for a while, and then it stayed there for 2 years. COVID intervened, of course, as it did with everything. And then late last fall, after we knew that the downtown improvements were complete, the road was open again, the service director of Akron, Chris Luddle, and I talked, and he was willing to do whatever it took to make certain that it had a permanent home. And so the city of Akron came out and poured this concrete base for us and placed the monument on top of it, and we waited until today, when Sarah and Melissa could be with us to formally rededicate it. Now, one of the questions you might have is why here? I'm going to ask Leanne Neff Hebner, our president and CEO, to come up and tell you a little bit about where we are here today and also what's going to happen here, we hope, in the future. Leanne?
Thank you, Dave. It's an honor to be here, and actually this is such an important space. It's a crossroads, actually, of not just Akron history, but national history, as we have the Portage Path here to our west, and then behind me going east or north and south was the stagecoach route. So here we have such important history that then is going to continue. And here at the home of Akron and Summit County's founding family and the Perkins-Stowe Mansion, we're looking to our centennial, which is just a few years away. And we were talking about having an opportunity for a memory garden of those individuals of our past, of those individuals that have been so dedicated to our organization. And at a similar time, Dave approached me and said, there's this opportunity. And I said, yes, we would love to have this marker here. And when we realized we weren't going to be able to run water to it because we're not that advanced in our stages to have this memory garden, I said, what about a bird bath? And I have to tell you, actually, Jeremy Jenkins is here, our artist in residence, who's done our app to try to encourage people to be more on this property. He cleaned this today because the birds are already loving it. So they know that this is going to be a future site, that this is going to be developed into a garden to commemorate those of the past, to lead us forward into the future. And we're looking forward to this property and how it's flourished. Actually, Dave, 7 years ago, it's hard to believe, came to me and said, let's put sheep on the front lawn of the Perkins-Stowe Mansion. Growing up in Southern Ohio, I knew a lot about animals, and I did not see how this was going to work in the city. And it's flourished, and it's fabulous. And actually, the person that's videotaping this, Edie Steiner, behind you, is our she's our volunteer shepherdess, and one of her oldest dogs, who will turn 15 this year, is also in attendance, Rudy. And so what it's done is it's changed this landscape so much. It's changed the ages of the people that are gathered here. And so this week alone, we've welcomed almost 1,000 people on our property with programming. And so we look forward to paths around the sheep pens. We look forward to a vista so that the city can look back here onto the Perkins-Stowe Mansion, to this home. And we hope that'll happen for our centennial because of our dear friend John Dalton. We look forward to potentially having a barn that used to reflect what used to be here, so that we can have our collections on our own property. And we tie this all in with the John Brown House, where everyone is celebrating Juneteenth today. And Dave will be then guiding us up to the John Brown Monument tomorrow. And we know, Mrs. Mathers, some of your family's going to join us. It's an honor to bring together industry with culture and remind people that the reason that we're here is because of these individuals, that they made our lives better. And so we hope that you'll join us in growing this space in the future, and that anytime you're in town, ladies, that you know that you're welcome to come here. And Mrs. Mather, we thank you so much for being involved and bringing so many of your family members today. Dave?
Thank you, Leah, and I certainly want to acknowledge the gifts that Roz has made to us that will help us develop this piece of land in the future. So Roz handed me this piece of paper, and so let me just acknowledge, I already did Rowan Mather from Seattle, great-granddaughter. Another great-great-granddaughter, thank you, thank you. I can't read. Yeah, there's one other one, a great-granddaughter, Katrina Mather Sherman, and you're over there, and you're living now in San Francisco. Then, let's see who else is on here. I've introduced the daughters, Stephen Sherman, Kirk Graves, William, is it Redding?
Yes. Yes.
Nice to have all of you with us today.
And Emily, our other cousin.
And Emily.
Emily's
Nice to
another-
have you here, Emily,
Thank you.
as well. Well, Roz, let me just move over here and let me invite you to say a few words. You can stay seated if you like.
Well, I'm very thankful for the city for bringing it over here and taking care of it. Sarah and I went downtown when they were ripping up the downtown and snuck in to see what had happened if they had taken down the fountain. And so we met a gentleman, which I think must be the service manager. He happened to be there, and he said, "Oh, we saved that," and we were really very appreciative. And the city has been very kind to take care of it and then to put it here for us. I just want to say a few things about Irv. Irv did work at Robinson Clay, but he retired in 18 something, but when he was about 45 years old, and bought the property out in Gent and established a farm. But he had trotting racehorses, Belgian horses, and cattle, and he was, I guess, was a great favorite of everybody in the city, and he just loved to have a good time. And from the 1920, when he moved out to Gent, after he bought this property and renovated an old house out there, which is still standing, he just had a good time with his going to the races, going to the fairs, and having fun. So I want everyone to have a good time, and I hope this garden, even though it'll be a memory garden, will be nice memories for people in the future. And I think the fountain is a great addition, and I'm very glad. I know my husband, James, and especially my mother-in-law, Leona, would be very pleased to know that we had saved this, because we go downtown and look at it and decide what we were going to do if we had it. Because my husband Jim would write to the mayor every couple of years and say, "If you're going to move this, let me know." So this turned out to be the perfect place for it, and I'm so happy that it all turned out so well. I want to thank Dave for all his work, for looking into it and making this possible.
Thank you, Roz. Thank you very much, Roz. We're so glad that we could work together on this. Had I known that we were going to be instructed to have a good time, I would have brought a bottle of wine with me, since I didn't know that that was part of the agenda. You're on your own after we conclude today to have a good time on your own. Also want to acknowledge the Norrises who are here with us today, and Sandy Smith, also great friends of Roz. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Donna Bender. Yes, thank you, Donna. And Lydia Bozeman has been a longtime volunteer of ours, and I think Leanne acknowledged the staff. We're happy to have Edie and Jeremy with us today as well. That's our ceremony. Thank you very much. Feel free to stick around and you can, we're going to take some photographs with the family if that's okay. So maybe we can have the director